Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Dr. Pat Show, talk radio to thrive by. And this is not Dr. Pat speaking. This is Jessica doing her best Dr. Pat impression. So if you feel like leaving us a comment on how well I did, feel free. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on transformationtalkradio.com. And we are here with our brilliant new producer, Colton. Colton, do you want to say hello?
Sure. Hey, how's it going?
Hey. And Dr. Pat's here too. And we are having a discussion about something you may have heard us talk about. You may not have. It is AI for the soul. What is it? What's it about? And why are we doing it? And also, I just want to make a side note out loud. The talk radio to thrive by, you're going to have to rethink that for 2023 since it's TV now.
It's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, so part of this doing the show today, and Jessica, it's great to have you hosting my show for me. I love that. And great to see Colton in the driver's seat right now. Colton has really worked super, vigilantly to get to the place where he's sitting and running this live show. And it's kind of interesting because we've been in a process of getting ready for this moment in this show today. People have said to me, didn't you guys talk about this like a bunch of years ago? Yeah. And then what happened, right? So from your perspective, I love the way the universe works because AI for the soul and the focus groups we ran and everything we did before COVID, we could not have predicted how much more all of us would need it now, could we?
Very true. Very true. The world has changed. What the world wants and the type of information and solutions and how quickly they need and want them has changed. I mean, there's stats and studies, just mental health alone. People are overwhelmed with it. I mean, I was talking to a friend at Seattle Children's and they can't keep up with the amount of mental health issues that are coming up with kids. So we need something different. We need something that presents solutions now and options for people. And not just in that, but in every aspect of your life.
You know what I'm really struck by, and let's give everybody a little bit of a background because what you said is so important. You and I had an event happen in 2019, and I went back and I looked at the dates of the focus groups we ran around this. And I remember how quickly we responded to when the idea came to us. And I think you should talk a little bit about that because it will set the backdrop because there was something you and I participated in very unexpectedly. And yet at the same time, it transformed us. And for somebody like me in 2019, after doing this since 2003, even having a vision to have something happen to that hit our soul so deeply that we looked at each other and we had an epiphany. Why don't you tell them what that was like for you?
Sure. So for 11 years, I've listened to you talk about a vision for a network and a place and a community. And a lot of that vision has come true and it continues to expand and evolve. And then we get stuck in our day-to-day and what we're doing, produce shows, put things out there, support clients, build websites, do social media, put messages out there, rinse and repeat. And you get stuck, not in a bad way, but just in your own bubble in day to day. And so when you have an opportunity like we had to fly to LA and be part of a music video with celebrities, people we didn't know, all kinds, let's say, at this event, and their response to you, who you are, some of them knew who you were, some of them this was the first time of ever hearing about you, or what you do and what the network is about. It was transforming to see that outsider response, but then also just the energy of what we were doing there for this video. I mean, it was something that was positive and a message in the world. And so all of that combined for me was eye-opening to, wow, we really need to do this, like put our money where our mouth is and really do this on a bigger scale, because the response to just talking about the network and what we're trying to build here was incredible. And these were just people that didn't know anything about us, nothing, you know what I mean? And so they had no bias, they had nothing, they were just completely in awe. Yeah. And that reminded me of the importance and how the world can react to something like this if we take it to a bigger stage.
And I remember, here's what I remember about this. There are these transformative moments that I can talk about, and the show's a half hour, so I'm not going to go into them, all of them. But there are moments in my life where like something has happened, whether it was me having a battle with a rattlesnake out in the desert, but there was something transformative. We both got on the plane at the end of a very busy weekend in this amazing photo shoot. And I hope Colton could get the actual video that we're talking about. I'm going to try to get him the link in there, but maybe you can send him the link. We got invited to do this music video with Tata Prince and John Legend. And Tay is John's nephew. And when we got the invitation, I was like, this has got to be a joke. I mean, it took me 2 weeks to accept the invitation because there was something that was going on with me that just, like Jessica said. But we got back off of that, interviews we did, people we met, figuring out what we were, getting up on a stage, everybody dressed in white and trying to dance. And we were on the airplane as I remember it. And I think I looked at you or you looked at me and I said, I'm different. I think I said something as simple as I'm different. I couldn't explain it, but I said, I'm different. And I think you said the same thing, because what happened to us was nothing short of an awakening and epiphany for what we needed to do in the direction we needed to go. Did you feel that way?
100%. That was it. I mean, and it was, related, but not really related to the event itself, but more stepping outside of what we were doing day to day, day in and day out, to do something different on an expansive scale that I think unlocked the answers to the things we've been working on.
Right. And what I love about this and the many, many things we've done, and especially that video, I've watched Tay over the years now change up the video, but the song itself didn't change. And yet here we came up with, and I don't know how we did it, but it was like, we got to do something. I mean, it wasn't that we weren't doing enough. It was, we have to do something. And AI for the Soul came out. And what we did when we got back home is we took action on it. We asked our hosts, we ran focus groups, right? Mm-hmm. And, and we were getting ready, all geared up to launch our crowdfunding to really do that. And then shortly thereafter, we were shutting everything down, not just us, but around the world, because, right, introducing COVID-19. Now, we've had 3 years, and people would say, oh my God, did you get discouraged? No, because in the 3 years that went by, we looked at AI for the Soul, we looked at our technology, we looked at what we could do to up-level it. Thank you, American Nick. And we're at the point now where, okay, upgrade our new tech, check. Okay, upgrade the way we're going to check, right? AI for the Soul, ready for crowdfunding, check. I don't think we could have done this, and I'm so thrilled we didn't start it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a divine reason why we didn't, because there were so many solutions that we could provide that we didn't even know there were problems at that time. And now those problems in the last 2 years have come fully into view for people. And so we're going, great, let's create some solutions.
Right. What do you make? Let's talk about this for a minute, if we could. I want to ask you this question really from the perspective of where we are today. Has your view of AI for the soul changed?
Yes and no.
Good, good. Let's hear it.
No, it hasn't changed because it was always supposed to be a thing that uses AI, artificial intelligence, in a positive and powerful way to look at an individual and provide them with solutions for their life.
Okay. You know, this is what was one of the first definitions we had. It says, look, AI for the soul is an app connecting people with people and people with opportunities to transform their lives. And so the question that always comes up for me anytime I say AI for the soul is, well, you're just going to scam their information. It's not that kind of app. It's an app that's going to develop intelligence about people from what people say they need and want. And the solutions are going to be based on 20 years of connecting with the top thought leaders in the world for us. You know, the top people that we've known, thousands of guests that we're going to ask to be the providers, to be the solutions. But we're not going to go out and gather your age or unless you want to tell us. It's going to truly be something that grows. You know, its level of becoming self-aware is going to be based on what you tell it. And every solution will be different. Now, doesn't that sound like a little fantasy land? But we're a positive TV talk network. We've been that for 20 years. We're not changing that. We're just broader. What I love about our expansion is we're going to move from one channel to many, including an addiction channel. So what we've been doing for 3 years is building the foundational pieces for us to do that easily, right?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Jessica's going to dig a little bit deeper, share a little bit more about what the next steps are and why we're not even here if it wasn't for all of you. We wouldn't be here. They would have written us off decades ago about positive anything. But when we come back, she's going to tell you her perspective, her brand of positivity rules. We'll be right back.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show.
That's your Ryan Reynolds impression right there. That's something Ryan Reynolds would do, right?
Welcome back. We're talking about the inception of, creation of, and next steps of AI for the Soul, the Transformation Network, and where we're going in 2023.
Yeah. Outside of AI for the Soul, I think we should take a moment because AI for the Soul, we can't do this without everybody's help. So one of the things we're going to be launching is a crowdfunding initiative, and we are really planning that and planning it in a way that you understand that for us, we had to really beef up what we were doing because COVID did present us with new ways to look at the world. And what I mean by new ways to look at the world, what I'm really saying is for all of us here, you know, as a network, we had to make adjustments for the past 3 years, adjust over and over again. people coming in, people coming out, just so many things. But it didn't stop us from taking on the challenge of upgrading everything, including our technology. And we made a major technological shift. I mean, we went from one program language to the next. But now we're ready to put the initiative together that says, do you want to be a part of this? This is how you can support. Do you know that is a question I get all the time from our audience is, you never tell us how we can support you in the network. Well, up to this point, listening has been my answer, but now we're getting ready to respond to the call that we've heard. People coming out of COVID. Some governments have made the announcement COVID is over. That is not our experience for people that have feet on the ground. Certainly not the experience for small businesses, but we're ready now to show that everything we said we're going to do, we're going to do. So tell them about our expansion from where you sit.
Everything changes. Everything changes from how we look to the name of the network, from Transformation Talk Radio to the Transformation Network, to adding new channels, new interfacing with our listeners, with our audience, and ability for them to be part of a membership. New apps, new TV only versions of what we do, expanded venues for that. And then also just an easier access as well for the host to you and you to the host.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm excited most. And so what I love about the time that has passed, when you used to mention Vimeo to people, they had a view of Vimeo. Now we're in conversation with Vimeo because they have even shown up to do things differently. And so we were sitting here figuring out, like, how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that and here they came along. And while we were doing our stuff and really taking all of the things that our audience wanted us to do, our host, right? They were over here. And so when we looked at what they did and when we looked at what we didn't have, it becomes like a perfect little partnership.
It does. And it allows us to remain independent, because that's the biggest thing as a media company, to be able to remain independent, especially in the positive and alternative and solution based that you don't see in the quote new mainstream that's here today. Being able to be independent is huge. And so a partnership like that allows that is awesome.
Yeah. And let me tell you what we mean by independent. A lot of broadcast networks or a lot of networks, and let's just be frank, almost all media in the world is run by, we used to say three companies, but I think it's down to two now. And it depends on who you look at, whether you think they own it or not, whether you point to like a TV cable company or Disney, it doesn't matter. But what's happened is what used to be distributed by hundreds of different media companies is not anymore. But the other part of that is now is the world of social media. And there's so many platforms now that base, like today's show, is run on a social media platform. We're not going to do that, but there are some shows we want to be able to say positive healing solutions and not run the risk of somebody literally taking down the show because I talk about the latest version of American Horror Story New York that talks about the origins of Lyme disease and AIDS, and nobody's going to come in and take it down. First of all, please don't take this down. Go watch American Horror Story New York City if you want some fiction. But is it? And so we've run the risk of how do we keep a positive network that also talks about racism very easily? Listen to a couple of our shows, right? But we're in a world now where we have to have a venue for powerful conversation that people are not willing to have about what they believe, what they feel, and what they can heal, right? Because I'm telling you, I would not be here today, and I'm not going to mention it today. I don't want anybody pulling this show. I would not be here today if it wasn't for naturopaths like Dr. Nushin Darvish, like Dr. Ronnie Duluth, like Mary Jane Mack, like some of the doctors that don't have their licenses anymore because they came out with the treatment for chronic Lyme disease that nobody had. We have to have a place for voices. we also have to have a place, Jessica, where research and solutions that are coming from abroad are being able to talked about. This is not going to be the network of hate. We're not changing any of that. But you would not believe the unlimited topics that you could have. This is for you, Jessica. Positivity ruling, right?
For sure. I mean, that came out of a frustration of how negative, like when you really look at how negative our media is and the impact on your heart and your soul and your mind. And sometimes it's subliminal. And I will use recently as an example, Seattle snowstorm. And if you turn on the news, listen to the background music as they're talking about the weather. It's doom, it's gloom, it's everyone be afraid. It's going to be this apocalypse. Go get your groceries now, stay home. And that was on the day that it was 36 degrees outside. So if you look at science, the roads aren't even frozen at 36 degrees. So But if you didn't think critically about that and you just listened to the doom and the gloom and the fear about this snow, of course you were scared. I mean, now of course, like I'm all for being safe, and if you have a 2-wheel drive vehicle and if you've got like you do you, but you also don't need to live in fear of it. And my problem with media is that it's all fear-based, and so positivity rules came out as a frustration and an antithesis to that.
And honestly, AI for the Soul wasn't out of frustration, but the same way. We're going to be sharing lots more about this as we move forward, Jessica. In the minute or so we have left, what do you want your personal message to be? What would you want people to look forward to? And what's your invitation to them to join in, to support in this movement?
Yeah, sign up for our email list, because there's going to be a lot of things happening very quickly and a lot of changes. And then we will be able to be in touch with you about all of it, how you can be part of the crowdfunding campaign, how you can contribute, how you can be a bigger part of the network and community. And you'll know about all the big things that are happening. So that's my ask. And do that. Sign up for the email list, transformationtalkradio.com, and then you'll stay in the loop about everything that we have going on.
Yeah. And I want to say to all of you that there are some of you that know who I am and some of you that don't. In the scheme of things, this isn't about me. It's not about her. We have a fabulous team of people that are here at the network, and we have some of the most incredible hosts. And I want to leave you all with this. When all of us are no longer here, we want this network to remain. We're building it for longevity. We're building it to have its own life, and you can help us with that. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Colton.
Thank you,
everybody. We'll see you next time.